What's up everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today's story is supposed to be a more grounded one. It's been a while since I did one of these more character focused ones, so I want to go back to this. And the concept itself isn't too crazy either. Today's scenario is going to revolve around Gohan and Vegeta. In this story, Vegeta ends up training Gohan after the Cell Saga. But what causes that and how is it going to affect everybody? Let's begin covering the scenario, what if Vegeta trained Gohan? A few months after the Cell Saga is where we begin. Now, at the end of the Cell Saga, Vegeta swore off fighting, kinda, but after all this time essentially just brooding, something changes with him here. He thinks to himself that it's not like him to be like this. He shouldn't just give up because he was surpassed. Think of it like this too. Kakarot knew something he didn't. Kakarot went about training a completely different way. And as for Gohan, he's gifted. They surpassed him not because Vegeta's bad at what he does, but because they're good at what they do. It's not a shortcoming for Vegeta. And the best part of this is, it's not something within him that can't be changed. He could change it, but to do so, he'd need Kakarot around, and clearly, he's not there at the moment. As much as he hates to admit it, there's something about Kakarot and the way he trains that makes him better. And he's just gonna need to accept that fact, as hard as it is for him to do so. If he's gonna go beyond Super Saiyan, he's gonna have to get someone's help for it, and it's not someone that he wants to get help from, especially because it's Gohan, it's a kid. The thought of him having to be trained by a kid, he doesn't like that. But that's not how he's gonna view it here. He's gonna simply spar with Gohan a bit, try and figure out his tricks, what he used to become Super Saiyan 2. Gohan will be a means to an end for him. Really, deep down, Vegeta's gonna rely on Gohan as a way to actually ascend Super Saiyan. But on the surface, he's gonna act like it's completely different, thinking to himself that Gohan will simply be a way to push himself further. Yeah, that's it. He'll train with Gohan just for a bit until he ascends Super Saiyan. Gohan's essentially gonna be a stepping stone for him, a means to make him grow. What other choice does he have at this point? He doesn't even have anyone else to train with, too. Gohan is still the strongest person on Earth after all, so even if Gohan can't teach him the secrets of Super Saiyan or whatever, that doesn't matter. Gohan's the strongest training partner that he could have. And he knows Gohan has the most potential out of all of them. His only other option as a training partner right now is Piccolo, and Piccolo is a good warrior, but what's he gonna know about Super Saiyan 2? He'll just be another training partner. Gohan at least has something in there to help him. Out of the blue one day, he shows up at Gohan's home. Chi-Chi and Gohan come to the door, and Vegeta says he needs to talk to Gohan. Especially because he knows if he says this in front of Chi-Chi, it's not gonna go well. He tells Gohan to come along with him. They're gonna train. Gohan's gonna help him ascend Super Saiyan. And Gohan doesn't really say anything else here. Vegeta kinda scares him, especially showing up out of the blue and doing this. Something's off about everything. But when he leaves with Vegeta, he realizes that Chi-Chi's gonna be even more angry at him. He doesn't really have a choice here. Face Vegeta's wrath or face Chi-Chi's wrath. And he chooses Vegeta. He'll be easier to beat. They arrive at Capsule Corp and Gohan asks what this is all about. Why all of a sudden? Well, Vegeta's been thinking to himself. He just wants to go beyond Super Saiyan, and the best way to do that is to have a strong training partner, someone who could push him beyond his limits. He's not gonna grow just training on his own. Thinking back to the time chamber, training with Trunks was a really good way to help him grow. It helped him ascend to Super Saiyan the first time. Not just because it's two minds working together, but also the extra muscle helps. You can grow far more effectively with a strong training partner than just alone. As much as Vegeta hates to admit this to himself, Gohan is the best option for him to grow. And he asks Gohan, how much has he trained since fighting Cell? Well, he hasn't really trained at all. What? He has that insane gift of his potential, and he's not even using it, especially after just unlocking a new form of Super Saiyan that no one else has accessed before, and defeating a guy that was able to destroy solar systems. With that kind of power, he's not doing anything with it? Why? What a waste. He wonders if Trunks will have that same gift one day. But then again, he's stuck with Gohan for a bit because Trunks is still just a baby. He'll train Trunks up to be a strong warrior regardless, but he hopes Trunks has the same gift as Gohan and doesn't waste it. But still, he's amazed. He gets Gohan's not really a full Saiyan. That human side is probably what's influencing this, the fact that he's not just a battle-crazed Saiyan like them. And to think, he's the son of Kakarot. Kakarot loves fighting, and Gohan here, he's not training at all. Well, whatever. That's not Vegeta's problem. He just needs Gohan to help him get above Super Saiyan. The two start with gravity training, and even spar in the gravity chamber. He wants to see Gohan's full power once more. Gohan actually hasn't used his full power since fighting Cell, but of course here, he shows it off. And once more, Vegeta gets a glimpse of Gohan's power, that same strength that was used to defeat Perfect Cell. He forgot how intense the power was. Thankfully, it's only been a few months, so Gohan hasn't grown much weaker, if at all. But he also hasn't grown since then. Not that it matters though, because he's still above where Vegeta is, by a significant margin too. Alright, now that he's seeing this firsthand, he tells Gohan to come at him with everything he's got. Don't hold anything back, not until he wins. Of course, when the two of them start fighting like this, Gohan wins pretty easily. He's still not as skilled as Vegeta, but his raw power more than makes up for that. And this just annoys Vegeta even more. Seeing this power go to waste like that. He's not doing anything with it. Why? And Gohan still doesn't get what this is all about. Like, yeah, he knows Vegeta wants to get Super Saiyan 2, but how is this gonna help? He's just getting beat up by Gohan. Did he call Gohan here to just try and beat him up, or vice versa? What a weirdo. He always knew Vegeta was like that though, but still. He feels like this is a waste of time. And Vegeta's starting to see firsthand. Gohan's true potential. He's already known of it, of course, seeing it when he first came to Earth and seeing it on Namek. He knows that hybrid Saiyans are just like this. But now, he sees what Goku is working with in the time chamber, and how he got this strong in the first place. Kakarot did a good job training Gohan up, and Piccolo for that matter too, but he tells Gohan he still has a long way to go, especially if he's not making use of the power and just focusing on other things. How about they make a deal, the two of them? Vegeta says he will train Gohan. He knows Gohan probably doesn't want to, but tells him to listen closely. He's not simply going to just train Gohan, no. He's going to make Gohan enjoy training, make him use that power. He gets Gohan doesn't like training like him or Kakarot, or fighting to the same extent either. But he knows it's got to be in there, somewhere in his Saiyan blood. He did show some sort of enjoyment against Cell when he was drunk off that power, and that's exactly it. This is what he's going to use to appeal to Gohan. First of all, doesn't he feel bad that the power's going to waste? The thing Goku and Piccolo worked so hard for him to unlock? Plus, on top of that, doesn't he want to make up for what he lost against Cell? Is he just simply scared of the power going to his head again? Vegeta can help him work around that, because Vegeta clearly has experience with power going to his head. And Gohan doesn't really know what to think of this. Of course, he does regret how he acted against Cell, but that's all the more reason for him to not use that power again. And Vegeta reminds him, Gohan's the strongest person on Earth right now. This is what his father would have wanted after all. Gohan's honestly not too sure about this because he knows Vegeta doesn't know Goku like that. Although, he is right. Goku probably would like to see Gohan do this. Look at it like this. There's no downside for Gohan. Vegeta will help refine his power. Vegeta will help him control that power. And Vegeta will make him like fighting just like them. Not that Gohan necessarily wants to, but sure. What Vegeta gets out of this is two things. Obviously, it's going to help him go Super Saiyan 2. Gohan will be a very worthwhile training partner. But on top of that, he'll also get to see how far Saiyan power can truly go with Gohan. It's morbid curiosity that's driving him too. If Gohan at this age has power like that, what's it going to be like when he's Kakarot's age, or Vegeta's age? How far can a hybrid Saiyan truly go? Gohan reluctantly agrees to this. He still does have to study like Chi-Chi wanted him to, but he still has free time. He's kind of apprehensive about this, but whatever, he'll go for it. Slowly the two begin training more and more together, as well as sparring too, of course. At the moment, Trunks is far too young to train, but Vegeta also does want to train him eventually. And from this, he'll actually get some experience with that. In a sense, this is kind of going to make him Gohan's teacher, so at least this way, he'll learn how to train someone else up and he could use that on Trunks once he's old enough. At first, the training is pretty spotty, but slowly they start training more and more, and it becomes a regular thing. At first, Kakarot's son is just a means to an end for him, a guinea pig of sorts as well, just to test out what his power's like, and to see what Vegeta could do as a teacher. But slowly though, that begins changing. Now, Vegeta's completely inexperienced as a teacher, but he is a wealth of knowledge, and eventually he's going to learn how to actually use that as a teacher. He doesn't consider himself as such, nor does he consider Gohan a student of his. But over time, these two people that never even really talked before, now they're developing a different type of bond, pretty similar to what happened between Gohan and Piccolo. And just like Gohan was able to change Piccolo's outlook, he's able to change Vegeta's. Of course, he's not causing a villain to turn good. Vegeta's already on their side. But rather, it's Vegeta's outlook on fighting. He was so demotivated before. And while he didn't even realize it at the time, this is also a way for him to be more motivated with training. Despite being surpassed by the other two, now he's getting back into it. He's getting back to his old self, but more refined. Unbeknownst to him, this training's benefiting him in more ways than he thought. The two of them grow stronger together. Vegeta gets Super Saiyan 2 for himself a lot earlier on. And as for Gohan, he doesn't really get to ascend Super Saiyan 2. He kinda sees what lies beyond it, but he has nothing as a useful form beyond it. He sticks with Super Saiyan 2 as his main thing, and he wonders what his next step is going to be. But at least with this, he further refines the power. He gets past that cockiness he felt before, that feeling of being drunk off the power that he got. He does grow considerably stronger physically, but mentally too. But keep in mind, this isn't intense training. It's training that happens pretty regularly. And the two do grow stronger from it, but it's not like they're training for a life or death situation. It's basically fueled by both of their curiosity. Towards the end of the time skip, Gohan eventually does go to school. Although, he's still able to fit in his training. He trains a little less with Vegeta, but still, it's a regular thing. A lot of the stuff with him being in school and meeting Videl ends up pretty normally. And not a lot changes after this too. The tournament does come up, and Goku's invited to go too. Vegeta sees this as a really good chance. Kakarot's coming back. Not only will Vegeta get to fight Kakarot and beat him, but he'll show him how he's trained Gohan. In a sense, he's already beat Kakarot. As a teacher though. But still, he doesn't want to beat him physically in a fight. Goku of course is curious to see all of this too, because not only is Gohan stronger, but Vegeta was his teacher of all things. Now, Vegeta says he isn't a teacher, but that's exactly what he is. And Piccolo's a bit curious too. Not just for what Gohan's capable of, but for what Vegeta learned from this too, because he was never really the teacher type before. Granted, the same went for Piccolo in the Saiyan Saga, and look what happened to him. Either way though, Vegeta feels pretty confident in himself. Not only did he grow stronger, but he trained someone else to grow stronger too. In a sense, the strength that Gohan has, that's his strength too. Without him, where would Gohan have been at this point? The tournament starts relatively normal, and really the biggest change here is that Gohan and Vegeta are both stronger than before. This goes for Trunks too, although that's not affecting anything with the main tournament. So nothing changes up until when Gohan's up against Kibito. Although, when Spopovich is fighting Videl, they kinda get to see a glimpse of Gohan's power when he's angry, which is pretty terrifying. But against Kibito, they see the full might of it. Very briefly, Gohan shows off his power. A power beyond Super Saiyan 2. He barely has control over this, and it's a very draining form, so he doesn't like using it, but he does have it as a final trump card just in case. His hair grows longer, his aura flares up significantly, and his ki, it skyrockets. Goku watches on from the sidelines amazed, with Vegeta glad to see the look on his face. But it's not a look of surprise in the sense that he's never seen this before. It's a look of surprise in the sense that he sees Gohan's gotten the same thing that he did. Standing there in the middle of the ring is Gohan now using Super Saiyan 3. And Goku turns to Vegeta. It's true. He's actually unlocked the same exact power in Otherworld. But to think that Gohan's unlocked it here, for Goku that took him 7 years of training non-stop. He's known Gohan's always had that great potential in him, but this is still amazing. The Kais are barely able to paralyze Gohan. But they still do, and Spopovich and Yamu steal his power, so all of that goes normally. The thing is, though, with Gohan being in Super Saiyan 3, they get a lot more power. Now, the group does chase them down. And once they arrive in front of Bobby's ship, Dabura tries to sneak attack the group, but Gohan's quick enough to actually stop him in his tracks. Instantly turning Super Saiyan 2, and with a single attack, he defeats Dabura. And once more, Goku gets to see the extent of his power. To think that this is the same Gohan that fought Cell, not only is he far stronger physically, but the control he has over his power. The old Gohan with that type of power probably would have gotten drunk off it and would have fumbled here. Granted, he was just a kid then, but still. Here, he's perfectly level-headed. He's always known that Gohan's been smart, but that's book smart. Now he seems smart as a fighter too, and it makes Goku happy. Gohan's been making good use of his time here. He tells the others unfortunately he is going to have to hold back Super Saiyan 3. It's a little bit too draining for him. Now on the flight over, him and Goku were discussing it. So he knows that Goku has the same form, and he wonders why that is. He knows the form uses a lot of power, and maybe it has to do with him being dead. But for some reason, Gohan can't properly use the power, and that's why he barely touches it. For Goku, it's a different case. He doesn't want to drain his time here on Earth. But maybe there's a reason behind that. Maybe Super Saiyan 3 just doesn't work that well in the living world. Vegeta says when Gohan unlocked it during training, to both of them, it seemed worthless. Vegeta turns to Goku and chuckles a bit. He hasn't been slacking off either. For some reason, it seems pretty worthless for the both of them. It must be because Kakarot's dead. There's no other explanation. And for now, they're focused on a higher power. They're not sure if there is anything else besides Super Saiyan 3, but they're gonna look for it, just in case. They fight Bobity's minions. And obviously it's not tough at all, especially with Dabura being defeated that easily. And they feel pretty confident here. Shin says that they've stopped everyone. There's no way that Bobity has enough energy to revive Boo. He was probably going to make them all fight. All they need to do now is get to the egg. However, there's one big problem. Everyone's then teleported outside of the ship. And they see Boo's egg. It starts shaking rapidly. Steam erupts out of it, with Bobity laughing in front of it. He tells them it's already too late. Honestly, he didn't even foresee this either. From Gohan going Super Saiyan 3, they got so much energy that the power from him was enough to revive Boo. And now they're about to face their worst nightmare. Majin Buu awakens, with the group unsure of what lies ahead. But Gohan's not deterred. Goku seems relatively calm. He thinks Gohan has this under control, and Vegeta thinks the same thing too. He tells Gohan to go ahead, show him that power that he obtained, the power that he worked for. Thankfully, everyone is uninjured at the moment. Gohan is a little bit worn out because he did have to fight the minions, but it's not really too much, and Kibito is able to heal him back to full health. Shin and Kibito are terrified seeing Buu there. Shin tells everyone they need to leave right now. There's no way they're going to win this, they're going to lose. But Vegeta simply looks over at him and smiles, telling Shin that no, they'll win. Gohan goes Super Saiyan 2 and is the first to fight Buu, just to help gauge his power. Goku offers to help with Super Saiyan 3 as well. It's going to burn through his time here in the living world, but still, it's at least worth a shot. But Gohan asks them to give him a bit of time. They need to gauge Buu's power first before they go in all out. In case he's stronger than they think, they're going to need the extra energy to get out of here. And Gohan is able to actually hold off Buu very briefly. Very briefly. Buu is strong, but it's still not hopeless. This tells Gohan two things. One, if they all work together at full power, they should be able to defeat him with ease. It shows him some of Buu's abilities, like his regeneration and magic. Wait, is he serious? They could beat Buu? Gohan says it might be a bit tough, but with their current strength, at their full power, they should be able to. And now that they know where Buu's power lies, it's time to strike. And Gohan says he's not going to mess up here. Everyone's relying on him. He wants to make sure he finishes the right way. And for that reason, he's not going to try to do this alone. He still has regret for what happened with Cell, especially seeing Goku here. In the end, he did eventually beat Cell, but at what cost? He tells Vegeta and Goku he wants them to completely power up. This might actually be a bit overkill, but it's better to be safe than sorry. So, Goku shows off Super Saiyan 3, with Vegeta also showing it off surprisingly. which surprises Goku because he didn't know Vegeta actually had it. He said he was on the cusp of it, but he didn't realize that meant he actually did have it. Vegeta says he'll explain later, just focus on the battle for now. With Gohan also going to Super Saiyan 3, they attack Buu simultaneously, and Gohan tells the other two, don't try and fight him, just finish it. Gohan charges a Kamehameha, with Goku doing the same, with Vegeta in the middle of them preparing a final flash. A triple Super Saiyan 3 strike. The three beams all coalesce together, hitting Buu with their full power, and completely eradicating him actually. Babidi tries to shield himself from this, but it's already too late, and with how massive the blast is, he's actually caught in it and killed as well. The three all power back down into base. Goku says that might have not been necessary. Seeing Gohan's full power, he might have been able to do that alone. And Gohan actually did know that. It would be a bit tough for him to do it on his own, but still, he wanted to be extra careful here. This way he knew it was a guaranteed win. And besides, if he only has limited time to see Goku again, he's glad he got to see his all-out power and fight alongside Goku too. The Kais thank everyone for their help and depart Earth. They didn't expect everyone on Earth to be that powerful, and they hoped that Buu wouldn't be revived in the first place, but hey, it all worked out and nothing really bad happened, so it's all good. The group returns to the tournament. Now in their place, the Battle Royale did start, but they weren't gone too long. And since the tournament was a bit of a dud, they do need the show to go on, kinda. And Vegeta has a really good idea. He goes over to Mr. Satan, asking him to pull some strings. Look, they don't have to restart the whole tournament over, but give him the chance to fight Kakarot one-on-one. It'll make for a really good show for the spectators too. And since it won't be an official tournament match, Mr. Satan won't have to worry about fighting them either. Mr. Satan's terrified because he can't tell if this is a thinly veiled threat or not. And it actually isn't, but just to be safe and not have to fight Vegeta, he pulls some strings and they're able to get a match going. One final match for the tournament, Vegeta versus Goku. Seeing some of his power against Buu, he could tell that Goku did train non-stop, and Goku's pretty impressed too. Vegeta did mention that he was on the cusp of Super Saiyan 3, but he didn't realize Vegeta actually had it. And yeah, he does, he just doesn't really like using it, and he hasn't worked with it since he actually got it. He still doesn't want Goku holding back even with his advantage, but he can't use Super Saiyan 3 so recklessly. When he uses it, it drains him so much that it's basically not worth using, unless he really needs one burst of power, like in that circumstance. And Goku tells Vegeta not to worry, he won't hold back here. He knows Vegeta wants him to go all out. At first, the two start fighting in Super Saiyan 2, just so they could have an even match later. Of course, not only has he been training Gohan, but he's been training himself. He's much stronger than he would have been in this tournament. And thanks to having such a great training partner, he did grow a significant amount, and he unlocked Super Saiyan 2 a lot earlier on. It seems Vegeta has a slight edge in Super Saiyan 2 at least, but tells Goku they still need to go all out. So the two launch up in the air, powering up into Super Saiyan 3. This will be the finishing blow, and this will decide the victor. At maximum speeds, the two launch towards each other. No one in the stands can even comprehend what's going on, except for the few people that are fighting alongside Goku and Vegeta. They're flying at each other way too quickly. And it ends with a clash midair, with a colorful explosion of ki in the sky. When that dissipates, everyone sees Goku and Vegeta floating midair, both in base, each with a fist in each other's face. They each fall down to the ground, each falling outside of the ring. But by a split second, Vegeta hits the ground first. So, even though they knock each other out, the tournament rules declare Goku a victor. And once they regain consciousness, it kinda does give Goku memories of the good old days. You know, the 22nd World Tournament, that's basically what happened with him and Tenshinhan. But regardless of the tournament rules, the two of them seem to be even in strength. And it was a fun battle while it lasted. Vegeta tells Goku once he's dead, they're gonna fight again. And there's not gonna be any weird tournament rules or anything, it's gonna be an actual all-out match. Goku enjoys the rest of his time in the living world, and eventually does return to Otherworld. So at least for now, he's gonna stay dead. But he's not gonna stop training though, not in the slightest, especially knowing what he's facing on Earth. He's gonna train harder than he ever has before, despite already training constantly 24/7. It looks like he needs to crank it up a notch. He was hoping he'd be able to surpass Gohan, but it doesn't seem like that's the case here. He's proud of Gohan's growth, and pretty surprised to see Vegeta as a teacher, but more importantly, just glad to see Gohan as strong as he is, even if they didn't get to fight in an actual tournament. We enter a brief time skip in between this arc and Battle of Gods. Gohan and Videl still happens like normal, and in terms of training, Gohan also starts to train with Piccolo a lot more this time around. Vegeta has been a big help, but he also kinda got what he wanted out of this. Besides, both are busy with their families right now, and Vegeta also kinda needs to train Trunks. He can't really train both of them at the same time, and Gohan's basically learned all that he could from Vegeta. Again, Vegeta's not really a teacher in the first place, so he doesn't know what else he could teach Gohan. He was basically helping him hone his movements as a warrior, and unlock more power as a Saiyan. But also, he knows that whatever Gohan's aiming for next, it's not something Vegeta could help with. It's gonna be something unique to him. And frankly, Vegeta doesn't think he's a good enough teacher for that. But he's proud enough. Seeing Gohan get strong, that kinda is his own strength in a way, since he was the one to help him get that. And he wants to see Trunks grow the same way. For now, Gohan's gonna go back to his first teacher. Piccolo is impressed that he kept up with his training that much, and has that sort of power now. He wonders how far Gohan's power could truly go. Whatever he's aiming to get next, it might not be related to his Saiyan side. It might be something completely different, something completely unique to him. They won't know for sure. So Gohan goes down a new path with Piccolo. Vegeta begins training Trunks as well, and Goten even probably would join along with Trunks because Trunks might bring him along to training one day. Great. Vegeta's an actual teacher right now. He didn't want it to turn out this way, he just wanted to train Trunks, but hey, at least this way he kills two birds with one stone and just trains the two of them together. And besides, Trunks does need a good training partner. It's good that he has someone around his power to spar with. The two of them train more casually, but still, they train regularly and under Vegeta, so it does help them a bit. And of course, Goku's keeping up with everything in Otherworld, continuing to try and push beyond his limits. Their story doesn't end here though. Towards the end of this brief time skip, we get to when Battle of Gods is supposed to happen. Right off the bat, there's two big changes. Goku's not on Earth, but Beerus will visit him on King Kai's planet because he still would be there. And also, there's no Boo here. So Beerus doesn't have someone stealing his pudding. Beerus goes to King Kai's planet first and does face Goku, but he knows nothing of the Super Saiyan God. When he eventually goes to Earth, he sees two particularly strong Saiyans, Vegeta and Gohan. But they also know nothing about it either. Thankfully though, they eventually come to the idea of summoning Shenron to ask about it. But there is one big issue. Even when misinterpreting what Shenron says, they still don't have enough Saiyans for that. So Whis clarifies what Shenron means. He can actually bring Goku here, but it still seems like they need one more Saiyan. Okay, well, first of all, that's pretty big news that he could just bring Goku here. He tells them that it'll be temporary just for that. But thankfully, Videl reveals that she's pregnant and she can actually help with this too. As a nice added bonus, Whis does bring Goku to Earth for a bit. It's a good thing they met him before, but even if they didn't, Vegeta and Gohan probably would have suggested him in the first place. Beerus was interested in Goku's power, but he can't necessarily have a rival who's dead. So who's going to become the Super Saiyan God here? Now, Gohan's the obvious choice because he is the strongest here, but he declines it. This isn't the path that he's looking for. He wants to unlock his own power, and this is just going to put him off that trail. He's sure the form will be great, but it's not something that he should be using. So with Goku and Gohan not becoming the Super Saiyan God, Vegeta's the next obvious choice. And he's more than willing to do it. They do the ritual on Vegeta, and he transforms into the first Super Saiyan God, starting a battle with Beerus. Of course, he's not going to be able to beat Beerus, but Beerus does get to see more of what Vegeta's like now on Earth. He's interested in Vegeta's new lifestyle. It's not very Saiyan-like, or Prince-like for that matter. Vegeta says Earth has changed him, thanks to all the people around him. He resented Kakarot at first, but it is because of him and Gohan. Of course, his family does have something to do with it as well, especially Bulma. But as a warrior, it's more so with those two. They changed his outlook completely on fighting and training. And to think, he almost gave up fighting completely after the Cell Saga. And of all people, those two were the ones who changed his views on power and fighting so much. He never would have guessed. And maybe, without even realizing it, it's because of them that he's as strong as he is now. He has that same sort of power. That same motivation that he nearly lost. Not to mention the fact that he's a righteous-hearted Saiyan that's fit for the ritual too. However, even with this godly power, he could tell he still has a long way to go. And who knows, he might even be surpassed again. It's happened before, so he's learned to deal with it. But this time around, he won't mind. Vegeta's confident in his own strength. He knows he's strong regardless, even if he might not be the strongest. And Beerus admires that, but tells Vegeta even though he's the strongest right now, that's just in mortal terms. He has a long way to go in terms of gods, and not just Beerus, but everyone above him too. But he has no doubt that Vegeta can eventually become the strongest in Universe 7. It might take centuries, but still, it could happen. And Vegeta says that's fine by him. The fight ends with Beerus knocking Vegeta out. Interested in his power, and glad to have had that battle. And, just as importantly, glad to have found all the good food on Earth. He's definitely going to be revisiting sometime. Eventually, Beerus does return to Earth. And this time around, Vegeta's actually able to appeal to Whis, just so he could train under him. Thankfully, he doesn't even need to appeal to Whis. Beerus says that Vegeta should go along with him regardless. If he's truly going to be his rival, he's going to need some godly training to go along with that. And much to Vegeta's surprise, once he arrives on the planet, he sees someone that he didn't expect to see there. Kakarot? Oh yeah, Beerus did forget to mention. Recently, he got Goku to come here, just to see if he can unlock the same power as well. They even offered to try to get the ritual done on him, but Goku declined. Also on top of that, they kinda need to be strict with him and can't let him go to the living world on Earth. And really, he shouldn't be on Beerus' planet either, but since Beerus is the god of destruction, he allows it. Goku had some special permission to come here, and as much as he'd love to go back to Earth, he can't because he's still dead. But this is great for the both of them. Goku is going to be the next to become a Super Saiyan God. He's going to train for it though. And while Vegeta didn't necessarily like the ritual, at least this gives him an opportunity to train and make the power his own. Make it feel like he earned it too. And the best part is, he has another good training partner up here. And he'll finally get to have that rematch with Goku. Although, right now it's a little bit one-sided. An all-out match won't be fun until Kakarot's also a Super Saiyan God, so Vegeta will wait for a bit. Now with both of them on Beerus' planet, Goku and Vegeta have a lot of time to train together. Although this time the two of them aren't really equal. At least not at first. But eventually both of them do have Super Saiyan God, and even unlock Super Saiyan Blue. And that's when they finally have their rematch, showcasing their power to Beerus and Whis, and also seeing that surprisingly enough, they're still equal. Which is a good thing because they could just fight to their heart's content. All the times they spar, it's going to be an even match, and each time will have a different outcome essentially. So they're having a pretty good time on Beerus' planet. Meanwhile, back on Earth, of course, Frieza's army does arrive, and eventually does try to revive Frieza. He doesn't realize that Goku and Vegeta aren't there, but it doesn't matter. He goes to Earth anyways. Facing the same crew that he originally did with some of the Z fighters, and still no Goku or Vegeta in sight. One difference here is that unlike in the movie, Goten and Trunks are actually involved in the fighting. Not as Gotenks, of course, because they don't know fusion. But they're actually there to help thanks to their training with Vegeta. And Frieza's army isn't too tough to fight, especially when they have 2 extra fighters, and with Gohan being so much stronger than he already was. Not that it matters to Frieza though, they were just the appetizer. He's the main course. Gohan's the one to step up and fight Frieza. Frieza doesn't even recognize him at first, then realizing that he's that same kid he saw in Namek. Goku's brat. He's all grown up. Well, maybe killing him will bring Goku out to this planet. He has no clue where Goku or Vegeta are, but this should be enough to draw them out. And he tells Frieza he's sorry to break it to him, but neither of them are coming here. They're busy with their own training, and Goku is also dead. Which kinda does piss Frieza off because part of him knew that Goku might have been dead, since some of his scouts told him that he's never been seen on Earth recently, and he apparently died against Cell. However, he knows for a fact that Vegeta's alive, so at least he could finish him off. And he guesses this means that he could have Gohan pay for the sins of his father. To Frieza, it makes no difference. A monkey's a monkey at the end of the day. Whether it's named Goku or Gohan, it's the same thing to him. Wow, Gohan forgot how racist this guy is. Base Gohan fights with Final Form Frieza, and Gohan actually overpowers him, with Frieza then showcasing his newest power, Golden Frieza. Piccolo tells Gohan to be careful, this is getting dangerous, but Gohan says not to worry. He showcases Super Saiyan 2. Frieza might not be familiar with his form, despite how similar it looks. It's actually an evolution of Super Saiyan, the same form that was used to defeat him on Namek, and the same form Trunks used to kill him. Gohan even taunts Frieza a bit. You know, if Goku and Trunks got a chance to beat Frieza, Gohan's glad that he finally gets a chance to do so too. But Gohan's not being cocky here. He's trying to get Frieza off guard by angering him. Gohan's perfectly level-headed. And Frieza takes the bait. The two of them start fighting. Golden Frieza is pretty powerful, but Gohan and Super Saiyan 2 is actually able to fight him off, which surprises Piccolo a lot because of how strong Frieza seems to be. Even though Gohan doesn't have a new form at all, and even though he isn't at his full power at the moment, he's still actually fending Frieza off. Piccolo thinks it's incredible. He truly has insane potential. All those years of training have paid off. But Frieza slightly has an edge, at least when Gohan's in Super Saiyan 2. As the fight goes on, Frieza loses more and more energy, and Gohan still has a lot of his own. And unexpectedly, he breaks out a trump card for Frieza, quickly transforming into Super Saiyan 3. So quickly that Frieza doesn't even get a glimpse of it, and with a single Kamehameha, he wipes out the Emperor. Frieza definitely got a lot stronger than they expected, but Gohan also did too. Eventually, Goku and Vegeta do get word of this on Beerus' planet, and they're surprised that Frieza came back in the first place, but not too surprised that Gohan was able to handle it. Well, at the same time, he is an adult now, but still. They remember back to when he fought Cell and that power went to his head. Both against Boo and Frieza, he was not only able to fight very effectively, but he also finished the job quickly too. Clearly he has no interest in toying with his opponents anymore. Now, Vegeta and Goku are a bit surprised that he at least doesn't like fighting them for a bit just to test out their power, but it makes sense to them that he's more focused on protecting everything instead of just having a good fight. Not that they forget the former, but they do like to focus a lot on the latter too. Of course, following this arc, we're led into the Universe 6 tournament. Now, Goku and Vegeta are of course confident in their own strength, and they have a really good team too. Vegeta, Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, and Monaka. Beerus thinks Monaka will help push them further, so he still is there. And especially after 3 years training in the Time Chamber, Goku and Vegeta still seem to be on top. But Gohan also goes to train with them in the Time Chamber. Not only is it a good experience in terms of training, but he gets to see Goku again. He rarely gets to see him as is, so of course he's going to take this opportunity, getting to spend another 3 years with Goku. And Vegeta too, but mostly Goku. And with both of his teachers in there, it's pretty beneficial for him. He still doesn't know what he's looking for in terms of power. He doesn't know where he has to go next. And he has grown significantly stronger, but still, he doesn't necessarily know what he's aiming for. And maybe this can help lead him towards the right place. And obviously with Goku still being dead, this is one of the rare times that he gets to see Gohan again, as well as the rest of his family because they attend the tournament too. Beerus is still debating whether or not he should have Whis revive Goku. It's not like it would change how much he's on Beerus' planet. Clearly he loves training as it is. But they'll wait for that a bit. Once he truly impresses Beerus, he'll reward Goku with a revival. Especially if he does something good in this tournament, he'll get a nice reward for it. Goku, Vegeta, and Piccolo decide that Gohan should go up first, and Monaka too because he wants to go last. Especially because they missed his fight with Frieza, they do want to see how strong he is now, and this tournament will be a good example of that. So, Gohan's the first up against Potamo, defeating him pretty quickly. Then, also defeating Frost, and not coaxing Frost into powering up either, and never even giving him a chance to use his poison needles. Then he's against Vegeta, who he can't defeat with raw power, but Gohan could probably think of a few insults here. We've seen what he's capable of. Then he faces Kappa, not teaching Kappa to go Super Saiyan, but still impressed at the novelty of seeing a Saiyan from another universe, especially one that's so kind-hearted like him. Weird. Besides Goku, Every other Saiyan he met tried to kill him on first sight, and Vegeta took years to become this nice too. Despite being a twin universe, Universe 6 must be way different than he thought, and now he's up against Hit. Now, Goku and Vegeta are both hoping that Gohan could win this, because they are both his teachers and Goku's his father. But at the same time, if he loses, they don't really mind, since they do want a chance to fight too. He's already been impressive enough here, and Hit definitely is a really tough opponent for Gohan. The first hurdle is Gohan adapting to his abilities, which isn't really too hard for him. This version of Gohan is one of the smartest fighters we've seen, because not only does he have Gohan's book smarts, but he's way more battle smart too, considering the focus that he had on training, especially with Vegeta and Goku as teachers. So basically after seeing Hit attack once, he begins theorizing to himself how Hit's technique works, and also tries to appeal to Hit too, basically trying to use the best dialogue options to get him to say what he wants. He's not taunting Hit, but he's still getting in his head, covertly though, trying to appeal to Hit and get him to reveal more about his techniques. At the beginning of the fight, he's mostly in Super Saiyan 2, but he's not attacking at all, he's just taking Hit's attacks, because before he can truly attack Hit, he needs to know what his technique really works like. And now, he thinks he has a good idea of how to do this. This fight's a really good one for him, because the last few fights, they weren't really too tough. He just overpowered all his opponents. But Hit's an actual tough opponent for him. The others were definitely strong, but not strong enough to contend with him at the moment. Hit has power and technique to back it up, as well as tons of experience. But even with all that, Gohan's able to figure out a workaround. He goes to attack Hit, who tries to time skip, but then Gohan powers up, using Super Saiyan 3 very briefly. So brief that no one in the stands could even see it, but they can sense it, and Hit's only able to see it because of how fast he's moving too. Plus, with him being the one using the time abilities here at all. It's a Super Saiyan 2 to 3 switch. He never truly figured out how to master Super Saiyan 3, and he doesn't think he ever will. Now, if he had a tail, maybe this would be a lot easier for him. But while he has gotten more efficient with Super Saiyan 3, he can never truly figure out how to make it so it doesn't leak any ki at all. But he did figure out a good workaround for it. If he can't use Super Saiyan 3 as much as he wants, why not just use it very sparingly? Max out Super Saiyan 2 to attack, and then at the last moment, transform it to Super Saiyan 3, just for the strike. This way he could use the explosive power of Super Saiyan 3, but not drain himself from it, and he could be 100% efficient with Super Saiyan 2 instead. This is literally just his version of the God to Blue switch, except with Super Saiyan 2 and 3. And with this, he's actually able to barely overwhelm Hit, and then finally win. So, Gohan was Universe 7's only person who fought during this tournament, leaving Universe 7 as the victor. Beerus still ends up making the same wish for Champa, but also kind of wished that he got to see Goku fight because he wanted a reason to revive him. Maybe soon enough though. He can't seem to justify it just yet, despite how easily he justified it with Frieza in canon. After all, Vegeta is his true rival. Goku's just there for more fun basically, but it's starting to seem like both of them are on equal footing. So Beerus is going to have to reconsider something. But Gohan being their only fighter also has an advantage. Well, somewhat. It is really going to change the next arc. Zamasu's watching all of this, and he doesn't really know what to do now. But this starts a chain of events that leads to him turning evil. And this time around Hit's the focus for him. Of course, he sees that other mortals are traveling through time. But in one of the other timelines where Zamasu is, he doesn't end up becoming Goku Black here. One day Trunks encounters a new villain, one even stronger than Goku Black, and a villain that he knows nothing about. This time around, it's Hit Black. Now, he still needs to get adjusted to this body, but he does have amazing powers as is. He has Hit's pure progress, as well as all of his time abilities too, which will make him unstoppable. Now, he doesn't have any transformations, but that doesn't matter. He's just strong as is. Trunks is barely able to escape, and Hit Black could have stopped him if he had better control over Hit's time abilities. But the other Zamasu is still a little bit confused about all of this. Why take Hit's body of all people? Well, it's simple. For one, it's symbolic. Hit was using his time-controlling abilities for evil. Now, he wasn't traveling through time or anything, but still, this is very taboo. And the fact that he was using it for assassination, for his own gain, to make money, it's despicable. Zamasu found it disgusting. So even though he ended up losing to Gohan in the tournament, he saw that Hit still had great power. And he probably would have won if he wasn't holding back completely, since he couldn't use any of his killing techniques. So that's why here he ended up taking Hit's body. So on top of Hit being a symbol for mortal disobedience, his power is another reason why Zamasu took his body. Of course, Zamasu could have tried to learn these abilities on his own as well, but Hit has the raw power to go along with it, and his body's already adapted to these time warping abilities. So this will make it a lot easier for him, and make him a lot more fearsome as an opponent. Against Trunks though, he's not too sure if he really needs it, but he was hoping this would prevent him from traveling in time. He wasn't able to stop Trunks quickly enough, but he knows that if Trunks ever comes back to this timeline, he'll be able to prevent him from using the time machine. He just needs to get a better control on his time abilities. Right now, the best he could do is just use the time ring. Once he has full access to Hit's abilities, he'll be unstoppable. And Trunks won't be able to escape a second time. Trunks goes back in time, waking up at Council Corp and glad to see everyone there, and this time not attacking Goku, of course. The only reason Goku's there in the first place is because he used instant transmission to get everyone over here as quick as possible, even though he technically shouldn't be here at the moment, which Trunks is also confused by because he thought Goku was supposed to be dead, and he could clearly see a halo above his head too. They have a lot to explain, but first, they need to figure out what's been going on with Trunks too and why he's here. He didn't actually see Zamasu yet either, he just saw Hit Black. He explains the appearance of his villain, but they can't really tell who it is, although they're thinking that it might be Hit. Why would he be there though? Why is he in Universe 7 trying to kill Trunks? Of course, they don't realize it's actually not Hit, especially because once he chases Trunks through time, they see him and think it's just the regular Hit. He is an assassin after all, but they still don't know why he has the motive to go after Trunks. Although, something about him is different. His demeanor's completely off, and he's wearing an earring for some reason. It's a good thing Beerus and Whis are here because they actually pick up on this immediately. Whis can see he's wearing a Potara earring and also apparently a time ring. Goku's the one to actually fight him off. Glad to see him and get a chance to face him again, even if he is a villain this time. But as he starts to fight Hit, he can realize that this isn't the Hit that they saw before. Gohan eventually does arrive to Capsule Corp 2, and he'd know best if anything. Not that they know much about Hit to begin with, but when Gohan sees him, he can clearly pick up on the same things Goku's picking up on. Besides his demeanor being completely different too, Goku and Vegeta realize that his fighting style was different. Although they only studied it from the stands, Gohan actually got to see it up close. But he agrees with what they're seeing too. Something's weird. He looks like Hit, but he's completely different still. And maybe it's the result of him being from the future timeline and not this timeline. Goku is able to fend him off, and eventually, he's pulled back into the future timeline. Something about this is really off, with Beerus and Whis also thinking the same thing. That wasn't Hit that they were fighting. That was someone else that just looked like Hit for some reason, and they have no clue of what's going on at the moment. Looks like they have a new mystery on their hands. After Hit Black is pulled back to the future, they all realize that he was able to do something. He was able to actually destroy Trunks' time machine, which means they're not going to be able to go to the future until it's fixed. Thankfully, Bulma could help with that, but now they're going to have to figure out what to do next, and come up with some sort of plan. Beerus and Whis are going to go look into it, and Beerus drags Goku along because he shouldn't really be on Earth anyways, but at least he could try and help them figure out what's going on here. They don't know how much help he'll be, but it's better to bring him along. And Goku has a good idea that might help them. He says that if Hit's involved with this somehow, especially from another timeline, why not hire Hit from this timeline to help out? He's an assassin after all, so maybe he could do some detective work too and figure out what's going on for them. Like, as an assassin, he's got to be good with that at least. Especially if it's something involving him. And you know what? Beerus actually kind of likes that idea. They're going to go for that. It's kind of outlandish, but hey, it might actually work. They don't really have too many other options here. Meanwhile, Trunks catches up with everyone on Earth, and he learns that, surprisingly, Vegeta actually started to train Gohan right after Cell was defeated. Now, they don't really do it too much anymore, especially because Vegeta's not on Earth the entire time. But Trunks can definitely see the fruits of that training. And if they're going to go to the future to fight this threat, Vegeta tells Gohan that he has to come along. They didn't train for nothing after all. Besides, he owes it to Trunks. And Gohan said he didn't plan on staying back in the first place. He wanted to go along with them, especially because Trunks saved them before. Now it's their turn to save Trunks. They also try and test out Trunks' power to see how strong he is. With Trunks also getting to finally meet his past self, not as a baby this time. Some time passes as they prepare, and eventually Bulma is able to fix the time machine. Alongside Trunks, Vegeta and Gohan go to the future. Goku still hasn't come back yet, nor have Beerus or Whis. But Shin of all people actually told him that they're looking into it still, and Beerus and Whis seem to have a plan alongside with Goku. Another reason Goku's not here again is because he's dead. Shin's not sure why he has a sudden change in heart after bringing Goku to Earth so much, but now Beerus is getting more strict with Goku and how he can come to the living world. If at all. Whatever, Vegeta will meet up with him soon enough. So the three of them head to the future. And immediately when they get there, they encounter Hit Black again. But not just him, there's someone else there as well. Now Shin actually told them about this guy because Beerus and Whis were looking into him as well. It's a Supreme Kai from Universe 10, and it turns out he actually is involved just like they theorized. At least they assume this is him. They still really have no clue of what's going on, but Gohan steps up to fight against Hit. Now it might just be because they're from different timelines, but this Hit is definitely different than the one he fought during the tournament, especially because it seems like he's grown in power. Thankfully, Gohan of course remembers how to counter Hit, and knows ways around his moves. He's also grown since the tournament as well. And as he steps up to fight Hit Black notices something weird. Gohan seems to have some sort of divine presence, and Zamasu could sense it too. Now, his forms aren't divine, not in the slightest. He hasn't shown Super Saiyan God or Blue or anything. He was curious about trying to unlock them, but just like him and Vegeta were trying to do before, he's been going for something else. And it has taken a while. After all, the last form he got was Super Saiyan 3, and that was years ago. Now he's come up with new uses for his different forms, but he still doesn't know exactly what form he wants to get next, if anything. But Vegeta and Piccolo think that this might be the next step for Gohan. Try and use this godly key somehow to unlock a new form. Not Super Saiyan God or Blue. Gohan has something else within him. He just needs to figure out how to unlock it. Thankfully, without any new forms here, Gohan is still able to keep up pretty well. He's strong as is, and especially with the boost from Godly Ki, he's gotten a lot stronger. And at first against Gohan, Hit Black's starting to falter. Not only does he not know how to use Hit's techniques as well as Hit can, but also Gohan's just a really strong and overwhelming opponent. It looks like he's not going to be able to win here. But this is when he starts to try and use his abilities more. Thankfully, Hit had pure progress, and it seems like Hit Black's potential is even more insane, just like Goku Black's was. But unlike Goku Black, who is in that Saiyan body, he doesn't grow from anger or anything. Pure progress itself is what's carried him a lot, and on top of that, he's been practicing a lot more with his abilities. Obviously, with him being Zamasu and all, he has access to magic and, of course, some knowledge of what time control is like. We've never seen Zamasu using this, but clearly he knows that time manipulation is strictly forbidden from others. So he might have had some idea of how this works, and especially now that he's in Hit's body and has his memories and such, all of that channeled together allowed him to actually try and master Hit's moves, at least to some extent. The tides of the fight start to turn. As Hit Black tries something, he doesn't skip time, he completely stops it, for everybody around him. Time just stops flowing for them. That pocket dimension Hit uses to skip time, Hit Black's manifested it completely here. Basically, a new realm within the realm they're already in. Time just doesn't flow for everybody now. Think of it like Dio using the world, or a domain expansion of sorts. Even though Gohan was able to counter time skip before, he's not able to counter this here because time has stopped. He's not predicting where Hit Black is moving. Because as far as Gohan and everyone else could tell, Hit Black's not moving at all. Gohan just suddenly attacked out of nowhere. He doesn't know how that happened because he's dealt with the time skip before, but this is different. He's evolved somehow. It's way more powerful and devastating, especially combined with Hit Black's strength. And the fact that unlike Hit in the tournament, Hit Black's not holding back anything here. Hit in the tournament couldn't kill, so he couldn't use his full arsenal or his full power. Hit Black, though, he can do that. Even Zamasu's stuck in this too, and he finds it really interesting. He didn't realize Hit Black grew that much. Gohan and Vegeta now start to fight together, with Zamasu then going to face Trunks. Very quickly they realize this isn't going to work out. Not only is Zamasu immortal, but Hit Black is basically untouchable. Now, the only vulnerability they found is that he has a cooldown between time stops. He can't just keep spamming them. They can't tell how long the time stops last either, but from what they could tell, it can't be too long. But even if it's only a second, which it is, that's more than enough time to land a bunch of attacks, especially with how fast everybody moves here. They basically have to be on the defensive the entire time because they don't know when the time stop's going to happen next. And even when they have their guard up and everything, with time completely stopped for them, Hit Black could work around that pretty easily, and he's loving this power. The group realizes they might need a retreat. They need to figure out a new plan. They're actually able to get away and get to the time machine, but the second they try and use it, Hit Black then tries something himself. This time he's not going to let them get away. He could feel the warping in time. It's a strange thing that he kind of felt before, but now he could really sense it. And he's able to stop the machine's time manipulation. The machine just floats there in the air and does nothing. The wormhole is trying to create, it's never created. He basically just pulls them back here forcibly. Oh, and to make sure they won't get away ever again, Zamasu then teleports over to them, quickly slicing the time machine in half. And now it's time for Hit Black to unleash his full arsenal. They don't know Vegeta's true strength because Zamasu never really got much data on him. They didn't get to see him fight in the tournament either. They realize he's powerful, but Hit Black focuses on Gohan first because they know he's a threat for sure. With all his focus on Gohan and all his power being used, Hit Black works as quickly as he can to defeat him, solely focus on stopping him, and he is able to do so. With a finishing blow, Gohan's left gravely injured. Now, Hit Black's not as great as an assassin as Hit, but this move should at least mean he's gonna bleed out, which means they really won't have to worry about him. Both Vegeta and Trunks are angered by this. Trunks is about to succumb to this anger, almost attacking on a whim, but Vegeta stops him. He tells Trunks to tend to Gohan, giving him a Senzu Bean as well. But Hit Black stops time and grabs the Senzu Bean, taking it for himself. This just pisses off Vegeta even more. He tells Trunks to go, and Vegeta powers up to his maximum. These two are really messing with the wrong mortals. Vegeta has to protect his family in both timelines, and not just that, but his student Gohan. He's not going to let anyone die here. But Hit Black's already cooled down. He tries to stop time once more. But right when he's about to attack Vegeta, this time around something weird happens. His stomach drops. Someone tapped him on his shoulder while time was stopped. And then he felt a devastating blow. A powerful punch right to his back, right at a point that would hurt him the most. Time resumes, and Hit Black looks around, not being able to see anybody. But then a blinding blue and red light flies by him. He's hit with a powerful attack. And as he tries to fend against this threat, someone encased in a purple aura launches by him too. And Vegeta could tell who's here now, looking over to see that Shin and Gowasu have arrived, but alongside them, it's Hit and Goku. Present Hit, the real one. He says that he wasn't even paid for this job, because usually his jobs aren't personal, but this one is. This one has to do with his own preservation. He's worried that this will happen to him in the present, so he's gonna try and stop this here. He's basically been a detective for everybody. Now, he was paid to figure out what was going on, but assassinating Hit Black, that wasn't really part of the deal. He's doing this on his own accord. Beerus and Whis actually put him up to this. But the most surprising thing for Vegeta is that Goku's there. He thought Beerus was going to be a lot more strict about bringing dead people to the living world. But his jaw drops when he looks at Goku's halo because there's no halo there. Now, Beerus knew he shouldn't personally get involved with this, especially with all the time travel. And he also knew that Hit was going to go alone, so he wanted to make sure he had eyes on Hit as well. just in case something bad happens. Now, they already know that Hit has nothing to do with this. It's all Zamasu. So while Beerus deals with Zamasu in the past, Beerus needed someone to go along with him, and he couldn't send Goku because he's dead. So, this was the perfect excuse for Beerus to finally revive Goku, or at least command Whis to revive Goku. Goku has been on Earth a ton already, but now he's really back. He's actually alive again, and he's here to help out. Now, as personal as this is, Hit's not here to actually fight one-on-one. His own feelings won't cloud his judgment here. He's basically just here to counter Hit Black's abilities, and to make sure that the job is finished. This gives Goku and Vegeta an opportunity to fight together, and Hit says this to Hit Black straight up. What he doesn't realize is that Hit's raw power isn't what makes him strong, but how he uses that power, and how he uses those techniques. Sure, he's already figured out that spamming time stop can help really well, but when that time stop's negated, what is he gonna do? Quickly, Hit Black tries to stop time again, but then present Hit does the same exact thing. He's been trying this for a while, and he's picked up on it recently. The best part about this is, he could bring anyone along with him, making it so Goku and Vegeta aren't affected by this, allowing them to attack Hit Black. But still, even with their combined power as strong as it is, it might not be enough. Although, there's a way to counter this. Hit Black's pure progress is really helping him, but he's not growing as explosively as Goku Black was. So, if they attack him now with a bunch of power, it should be more than enough. And that's another reason why they brought Goku here. As Shin and Gowasu go to help Trunks and Gohan, as well as to talk with Zamasu, Gowasu hands something to Goku and Vegeta. It's a set of earrings, and he briefly explains what they do. When Hit Black sees this, he panics. Zamasu's watching all this too, and quickly he tries to switch his earring to the other ear. But Hit simply shoots it off. Patara fusion? That kinda sounds like that fusion dance thing that Goku knows. Now, Vegeta's not really sure about this because apparently this is gonna fuse him with Kakarot. But what the hell, it might be pretty fun. And he doesn't have that Buu Saga experience where he thought he'd be fused forever. He knows it's only gonna last an hour or so. Angered, Hit Black tries to power up once more, stopping time, extending the time stop even, using all of his power to do so. But it's useless, because even amidst the time stop, he watches as Goku and Vegeta fuse together, creating a brand new fighter. The fighter quickly vanishes, using instant transmission. Hit Black feels a flurry of punches from behind him. With the new fuse fighter, they're taunting him. Vegeta didn't expect to be this powerful, but he's gonna have a lot of fun with this. He might not even have to use his full strength. Meanwhile, Trunks is with Gohan the entire time. He can't let Gohan die. Not again. He's already let one Gohan die, and he feels guilty for it. Thankfully, the Kais are here to help, and maybe it's not too late, but weirdly enough, before Gohan even gets healed, Gohan then gets up himself. Strangely enough, he feels fine. That injury from before is completely healed. Shin and Gowasu are confused. With Trunks glad to see Shin, he explains to Shin that he actually does know him. He trained on the Sacred World of Kais briefly before he fought Deborah. Wait, really? And Gowasu sees what happened here. Trunks doesn't even realize that he has latent healing abilities. He was defending Gohan from Zamasu the entire time, but the second he actually touched Gohan, he inadvertently healed him. And Zamasu asks what the other two Kais think they're going to be able to do here. Hit Black won't be stopped that easily, and he certainly won't. He's immortal after all. Well, they know that. Of course, Gowasu tries to talk him down, but it's already far too late. It basically goes the same way as Hit talking to Goku Black in the manga. And if Zamasu's not going to stop, unfortunately, they're going to have to stop him their own way. Shin and Gowasu begin preparing a sealing spell. Zamasu tries to fight back, but Trunks defends them pretty easily, with Gohan also jumping in to help. Actually, now that they think about it, they ask Trunks to join in. He might not be able to control his power just yet, but maybe he could help add some power to this sealing spell, just in case it doesn't work the first time around. And all the while, Vegeta fights Hit Black, not even having to use Vegeta Blue. He does actually go to Super Vegeta, just to be flashy and to make sure that this does the job. He's still getting used to this body because this is the first time he's fused, and he was basically just born a few seconds ago. He's having a ton of fun though, but present Hit reminds him he should probably finish this as quickly as possible. Oh yeah, right. So for a brief moment, he does power up, using Super Saiyan Blue. Hit focuses all of his power on Hit Black to freeze him, with Vegeta launching a final Kamehameha. As Hit Black is destroyed from this attack, not too far away, Zamasu's being beaten up by Gohan, then sealed by Trunks, Gowasu, and Shin. Simultaneously, both threats to this timeline are defeated. Oh yeah, and of course, Zamasu's dead in the present timeline too. It's the whole reason Gowasu is here in the first place. So, that basically wraps up everything for them. Although, there is one issue. How are they supposed to get home? That's another reason Shin and Gowasu are here. Now, it's going to be pretty tough to bring everybody back, because the whole reason they were able to bring Goku and Hit here in the first place was because they had to lend them temporary Patara earrings. Which is also why they had an extra pair to fuse with. But thankfully, there's a simple solution to this. Just by bringing people back one at a time, they're able to bring everyone back to their regular timeline. And as an added bonus, eventually Bulma does make another time machine, setting it to the future on autopilot so Trunks has it just in case. Now, both timelines are at peace again. But meanwhile, Zeno's getting pretty bored, getting ready for a tournament. And on top of that, Gohan noticed something weird. Right after Trunks healed him, he felt a really strange surge in power, one that he never felt within himself before. Weird. He wonders if it means anything. Considering he's still training a lot, Vegeta eventually does unlock a new level of himself, earlier than he normally would. Mainly thanks to all the changes to him here. It gives him a really big head start and allows him to unlock Super Saiyan Blue Evolution, not requiring the tournament to do so. Naturally, when he does this, he wants to test out his power further, so first he fights Goku. And with Goku utilizing Blue Kaioken, the two have a pretty good match, but it seems like Vegeta might be ahead, especially because now, Goku has to get used to being alive again, and how that affects his power. But Vegeta also wants to fight against Gohan and test his current strength. So, briefly, he does come to Beerus' planet to try this. Vegeta wins pretty easily. But Gohan tells Vegeta they can't stop. They need to keep fighting. He feels like he's falling behind. Even though he's been training this whole time, he still feels like he's not accomplishing what he needs to. Whatever he's trying to access beyond his current power, he still isn't there yet. He still doesn't even know what it is, and it's been years. He needs Vegeta and Goku to help, especially if it's not something related to Super Saiyan. They're not too sure about it, but Vegeta does know one way of how to do this. Like he did against Cell, Gohan's gonna have to force his power out of necessity. If Gohan really wants the power that badly, this is really the only thing they could try at this point. And Gohan really has no clue of how else to draw it out. He knows Rage is a trigger for his power, but he hasn't really felt that in a while either. And as much as Vegeta tries to help, this is really just a beatdown. It can't really accomplish too much for him. This isn't some sort of high-stakes opponent that he's facing. This is a friend of his teacher. And especially against Goku, this won't work either. Goku couldn't even get Gohan to unlock Super Saiyan 2 when they were in the time chamber together. They did get close, but he needed Cell to push that out. And as for Vegeta, he didn't even get to see a glimpse of Gohan's true strength. But Gohan does remember, when they were in Trunks' timeline and Trunks just healed him, he felt a weird surge of power within him. But then nothing after that. There has to be some sort of way to harness it. And Beerus finds this all pretty interesting too. He's going to keep an eye on Gohan, even though he's not really the main focus right now for Beerus. Actually, he's never really been a focus for Beerus, but now, he's seeing something different. Zeno eventually does get bored, and thanks to seeing the Universe 6 tournament, this leads to the Tournament of Power happening. If anything, it might actually happen a little bit sooner just because without another Zeno to help him, he's probably going to get bored really quickly. We have pretty much the exact same lineup for the team. As for the 10th member, Gohan actually even considers recruiting Videl, or even maybe Goten or Trunks, since they don't have many other options. But then he has the perfect idea. He's about to suggest recruiting Yamcha, but then Goku has an even better idea. If they need someone really strong, why not bring Frieza back for a day? Wait, what? Pretty much exactly like normal, Goku suggests recruiting Frieza, which leads to it being the exact same team, because Frieza's revived for a day. And since the team is pretty much the exact same, with the only slight differences being in people's strength, a lot of the tournament goes pretty normally for the most part, besides Universe 6 maybe having trouble to use Super Saiyan on their own. But considering how easily they unlocked it regardless, I could at least see Kale probably getting it still, so Universe 6 is slightly weaker, Universe 7 slightly stronger. And I guess that's really it. Vegeta's a little bit stronger from the get-go thanks to already having Super Saiyan Blue Evolution. For Goku, everything kind of balances out and puts him around the same level of power. And as for Gohan, since he's been training so much, even without having his potential awakened, he's notably stronger, but not by an absurd amount that's going to let him one-shot everyone here. He still is only using Super Saiyan 2 and 3 after all. So with all that and the teams being the exact same, for the most part, the tournament goes pretty much the same. With the only exception being that there's no exhibition match because Zeno doesn't need that. Including Goku having a catalyst for his own new form too, Ultra Instinct. Surprising everyone there with his strength because they haven't really gotten to see Goku fight this well, especially Beerus. To see him use Ultra Instinct, it's amazing. He's glad that he brought Goku to his planet. But there is one pretty big change, mainly between Frieza and Gohan during the tournament. There is a point where they actually do have to fight together, but Frieza has a newfound hatred for him. Of course, he hates all Saiyans, especially Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, but after facing Gohan during Resurrection F, he's got a newfound hatred for Gohan. He could probably have fun with this Saiyan. More importantly, he can get his revenge on this Saiyan. Surprisingly enough, even seeing that those other two Saiyans are gods now, somehow Gohan is keeping up with them, without godly ki or anything. Not that Frieza knows anything about that really, but still, he had to face Gohan one-on-one before. And even as they are now, Gohan still might match his golden form. And with Frieza coming back to life fully after the tournament, this leads to the Broly stuff happening just like normal, at least the recruitment of Broly. But once Broly gets to Earth, there is already a pretty big change. Goku and Vegeta of course arrive as the welcoming party for him. But right as Vegeta starts fighting Broly, Gohan then rockets over to help, sensing that there's some threat here and he didn't even realize. He could sense Broly's power from so far away, as well as Vegeta's too. He gets there right as Vegeta's fight with Broly finishes, right before Goku's about to swap in. And Goku still does jump in because he's been waiting his turn. But Gohan does warn them, if things get really bad, he's gonna jump in. He knows that Goku wants to have a one-on-one. But they do have to be careful here, and Goku tells him not to worry, it's gonna be fine. He's got this under control. Pretty quickly, they see Goku doesn't have this under control. Well, at first he kinda does, especially after he goes Super Saiyan Blue. It seems like he's actually handling Broly pretty well. But then Frieza kills Paragus. causing Broly to transform into his Super Saiyan, and they could feel his immense power. Like, yeah, Super Saiyans are strong, but not like this. This is unlike anything they've ever seen. Especially with how he was fighting before this entire time, it's pretty clear to them that this guy's no normal Saiyan. And Gohan wonders if it's something like him. Could he be like a hybrid or something? And Vegeta says it's not likely. Apparently, Broly's about the same age as them, judging by what Paragus said, which means that he's probably a pure Saiyan, and maybe some sort of mutant. Especially if his father did something to wrong them, that means they were on planet Vegeta at the time. Which makes this even stranger. A pure Saiyan being this strong? How is that even possible? How did he mutate that much? Vegeta then powers up into Blue Evolution, and Gohan powers up into Super Saiyan 2. Now, this entire time, Gohan has been using the Super Saiyan 2 to 3 switch. He's been utilizing it a lot, so much in fact that it's pretty much instant when he switches to 3. He never really uses 3 on its own. It's so well optimized that it seems like he's using Super Saiyan 2 the entire time, and then somehow powering himself up right at the last second. But ever since fighting Zamasu, Vegeta has noticed something strange with Gohan. Maybe it's that same power that Gohan felt before, but it seems like whenever he powers up into Super Saiyan 2, briefly there's a weird change in his aura that's not like Super Saiyan 2. Vegeta, of course, knows that it usually has sparks of electricity around it, but for some reason, right when Gohan powers up, those sparks of electricity look a little bit different than normal, looking red instead of a bluish-green color. But it's only for a brief moment, and after he powers up completely, it's gone. It probably doesn't mean anything, though. It might just be a weird quirk that he has. And he sees it again here, too. Maybe it's due to him optimizing Super Saiyan 3 and evolving it somehow. And this is some new inherent trait he has. But little did they know, that's not even close to the explanation. They go in to help Goku fight Broly, and Gohan yells at Goku to not hold anything back. Even though Kaioken is not too efficient here, he's got to use it. So together, Blue Evolution Vegeta, Blue Kaioken Goku, and Super Saiyan 2 Gohan fight Broly. And Goku tells the two of them to grab on. He'll teleport away. He's actually got a good plan here, something that they haven't used before, but it should work pretty well. He's going to teleport them to Piccolo, and mostly he needs Vegeta's help here. So Gohan says he'll stay back, just to make sure Broly doesn't move out of here. He says he'll be fine. He's going to be fighting defensively, and he's not going to be attacking Broly at all. He'll basically work as bait. Goku and Vegeta fly away. Flying towards Frieza, Gohan then careens into another direction, quickly going Super Saiyan 3 so he can use his maximum speed. And at the same time, Goku and Vegeta teleport. Gohan then lowers his power dramatically, trying to remain hidden and make it look like he teleported away. Gohan completely forgot that Frieza was there the entire time. Maybe he could be a better bait for the time being. And the plan works. Goku and Vegeta get away, with Gohan staying behind, and Frieza not realizing that Gohan's even there, because he was too focused on the giant hulking monster behind him, instead of realizing that Gohan's pretty much right next to him. Frieza goes golden and starts fighting Broly, with Gohan watching on the sidelines, and it's taken kind of a long time for Goku and Vegeta to get back. Of course, the whole fusion thing's going on. Now, it's a little bit easier to convince Vegeta because the experience with Vegeta was better beforehand. But convincing is half the battle because now they need to get the fusion dance right. And Gohan's surprised that Frieza's surviving all this too. Broly's so much of a good distraction for Frieza that he doesn't realize that Gohan's there the entire time. But at one point a stray ki blast does come his way, and it's an actual stray ki blast, not like what killed Paragus. So briefly Gohan does have to use his power to block it, with Frieza catching sight of him too. But thankfully the timing's not too bad because the second this happens, Gogeta then teleports in, leaving Frieza confused and Gohan a little bit confused, but then he realized that it's some sort of fusion thing. Goku actually did mention this to him before. After fusing into Vegito, Goku recounted learning fusion in another world. A different kind though, so Gohan eventually gets what it is. As Gogeta starts to fight Broly, that leaves Frieza to his own devices, and with Gohan there, he's got a score to settle. Frieza then launches right towards Gohan. Now, he is a little bit beat up, but given his durability and all, this is like nothing to him. And Gohan can tell that Frieza's grown during the tournament. And Frieza can note the same of Gohan as well. He's a lot stronger than their last encounter. Of course, he felt it during the tournament, but he wasn't on the receiving end of Gohan's power. And now, actually fighting here, Frieza realized that he's actually above Gohan now, and he can finally get his revenge. Well, if Broly doesn't succeed in killing the other Saiyans, whatever. He'll at least get to kill one of them here. Not just that, but he can destroy this entire planet. That's an easy way to kill them all too, although he doesn't really like the idea of doing that. He wanted to savor the moment after all, but at least that way, it prevents them from ever coming back, especially because the Dragon Balls will be destroyed alongside it. And Gohan can tell Frieza's dead serious. Obviously he is. The last time they faced each other, he saw the same exact evil within him. I mean, it's Frieza after all. But there he had the advantage. Here he doesn't. And Frieza takes joy in this, and he taunts Gohan, asking him what's wrong. What, not enough power to defend Earth and his family now? And that strikes a nerve with Gohan. How does Frieza realize he has a family? Well, Frieza's not stupid. He has info on all of them here. He doesn't know exact specifics, but he heard it mentioned in brief passing before the tournament began, even though he didn't get to see them. He thought maybe he was just referring to Goku's family, but then it hits Frieza. He realized that Gohan has a family of his own too, which makes this even more fun, as he taunts Gohan more and more. Gogeta's fight with Broly reaches its conclusion. But just as Gogeta's about to finish it with a Kamehameha, he feels a huge surge of power that distracts him. When he looks back at Broly, he sees that he teleported away. Gogeta doesn't know how or why, but Broly escaped. But what is that power that he sensed? In the distance, there's a pillar of blue ki, with sparks of red electricity around it. Goku, of course, has noticed the same thing that Vegeta had before. And Gogeta's first thought is that Gohan's finally done it, unlocking whatever power that he was supposed to get before. Gogeta teleports over to the area and sees Gohan absolutely demolishing Frieza. But Gogeta teleporting in is the briefest distraction for Gohan, allowing Frieza to launch a blast at the surface of the planet, forcing them to jump in and stop it. Frieza then quickly launches up into space, using this as an opportunity to escape Earth. And then Gogeta gets to see Gohan clearly. His hair's grown longer and it's a silverish color. His aura, of course, has completely changed, and his eyes have turned red too, with some other slight changes to him. Gohan finally got the catalyst that he needed, and it was Frieza. And obviously with Gogeta being both Goku and Vegeta, Gogeta is really proud here. In the heat of the moment, Gohan didn't even realize he transformed, at least not until he started beating Frieza up. And he still is pretty mad, especially because Frieza got away. Gogeta apologizes, but Gohan says it's not its fault. As amazing as this new power is, he fell back into his old ways. He let his anger blind him briefly. Maybe it's because he hasn't faced an opponent that made him that angry in a while. It's something he should have known because Vegeta and him worked to solve this exact problem before. Maybe he actually did need that, not just because it helped him unlock a new power, but helped him realize that he still has flaws he needs to work on. At least rework on, because maybe he got too comfortable. But more importantly, what is that power that he has? Well, Gogeta says he has a few more minutes before this fusion runs out. He's controlling the power pretty well, so maybe they could at least fight for a bit? You know, just to see what that power is that they're dealing with. Gohan's a bit beat up from fighting Frieza before, and a bit worn out due to that, but sure, they could fight for a bit. Especially because Gohan needs something to take his anger out on. Gogeta chuckles. He's not in a good mood, huh? That'll be even better. The fight will be more fun that way. A very short battle ensues. Gogeta powers up to his fullest, going into Blue Evolution, even trying to use Kaioken on top of it. This will use a ton of power, but still, it's worth it. The two exchange some blows, and as they're about to end this with a final clash, right before they connect with each other, Gohan drops back into base, and Gogeta defuses. With all of them laughing. Well, they could at least try that again later. Whis and Bulma watch on from nearby, with Bulma a bit terrified, and Whis happy too. Beerus is probably going to like to hear this. Goku and Vegeta start to work with Gohan a little bit more because they're interested in this power and want to figure out what it is. They're not actually sure of what happened here, but Gohan's latent divine ki and his rage combined caused this form to be unlocked. It was something ingrained deep within him. It wasn't just out of anger, although that was a catalyst for it. Just like during the Tournament of Power, where the Spirit Bomb acted as a catalyst for Goku to go Ultra Instinct, but wasn't the sole reason for that, that's kind of how the anger acted here. This is something that's been ingrained within Gohan his whole life, and it's an explanation that was actually used in Superhero too. Unfortunately not in the actual movie for some reason, but still, it's a statement that's been used for it. As for the Godly Ki part, well, that's a unique thing about Gohan in this scenario since he obviously doesn't have that normally. That's another piece of the puzzle here, and basically the fuel for Gohan to open the floodgates of his potential. It's a pretty minimal factor in this awakening, but still worth mentioning as part of it. And given all Gohan's training here, this is the culmination of all that, plus the catalyst to actually awaken it. Inadvertently, he's gone beyond himself and unlocked this form. It's completely unique to him. And that leads us to where we are now. As for Broly, he does stay on Vampa to hide from Frieza, just like usual, so he's not going to be on Earth, unfortunately. So next we go right into the Moro arc, and there actually are some changes here, but not as much as you may think. And it's all due to one small fact here. Gohan's probably not going to go along to Namek due to wanting to protect Earth in the first place. Plus, he kinda would rather stay here in general. Not to say he doesn't want to fight. Part of the reason he wants to stay back is because first of all, he wants to stay on Earth. Second of all, he thinks it might be better to just defend it. They don't want to be caught off guard after all. This choice is actually the smartest one to make. Of course, he doesn't know the true extent of Moro's power, but if he did go to Namek, this would be a really bad thing considering he's the strongest of the group right now. So this means Moro's not able to get his power. And eventually when 7-3 shows up on Earth with the rest of the crew, Gohan's able to make really easy work of them, stopping 7-3 really quickly before he can even do anything with his powers, completely destroying him in the process as well. Everything on Namek goes relatively normal, except Moro might be marginally stronger due to Goku and Vegeta having more energy, but Gohan staying back is a huge help, and when they eventually hear what happened on Earth, Gohan is really glad that he stayed back, especially because they already defended Earth against the crew that came here. And they realize Moro is probably going to come here eventually too, especially because once Moro sees what's happening on Earth, he thinks it would be good to come here in 2 months. Now, some of the crew escapes, but 7-3 is so hell-bent on killing them that he actually dies in the process. Which, again, is a really good thing. But knowing that Moro is eventually going to come here with more of his crew, Gohan thinks it's best they prepare. He is with Piccolo at the moment, and he thinks that it might be good for him to be one of the leaders here. And not like the Tournament of Power where he was a leader and everyone just did their own thing. No, he actually wants to make a change here. He thinks he could help everyone fight against them. Of course, he'll need Piccolo's help too, but he's going to take some initiative here, especially because he stayed back in the first place, which partially he feels guilty for, but at the same time, he realizes it was a better choice. Now, they just need to plan ahead for whatever comes next. A few months pass, and eventually Moro does come to Earth with his crew, first sending the crew out. Gohan and Piccolo have helped train all the others around them. Because of this, they're able to fend off against Moro's crew pretty well, especially with the fact that Gohan's here in general. That's their strongest fighter at the moment. Moro's crew is wiped out relatively easily. Really, the only problem would be Saganbo once he's actually filled with Moro's energy. But even then, that's still not going to be enough, and Gohan actually defeats him alone. And this is looking really good so far. First of all, the fights weren't really too tough, and second of all, Gohan's really glad that he got to fight alongside Piccolo again. And Piccolo's impressed to see Gohan's strength in person, in an actual battle alongside him. It's great. But of course, with Moro's crew defeated, Moro himself steps on the planet. Now, this is where the issue arises. They know of Moro's ability by now, and that's kind of a problem, especially with Gohan being the strongest person here. The thing is, Gohan could just kill Moro in one shot here and have it done with that quickly, but that is kind of risky, and he doesn't know if that would work. He massively overpowers Moro at the moment, but he doesn't realize that because he doesn't know the true extent of Moro's power, especially after he's grown stronger. And on top of that, the really big risk is the fact that he doesn't know how Moro's energy absorption works. For all Gohan knows, if he shows his full power, Moro will be quickly able to absorb that strength too. And that'll just make things worse. Gohan needs some time to strategize, but thankfully he has more than enough power to just hold Moro off for the time being. And Moro finds this guy interesting, especially because he heard about him before from the surviving crew that came a few months ago. Gohan seems pretty powerful, and he seems like he could be a good snack. A fight between Moro and Gohan starts, but it's pretty short. Mostly it's just Gohan defending against him and trying to hold him off. But it doesn't really take too long for Goku to arrive right after. And this is perfect because Goku has a great counter for Moro, Ultra Instinct. And Goku says he could use Gohan's help. It'll be a lot faster that way. Goku acts as the main attacker because he's able to fight Moro without giving any energy. But at random points during the fight, Gohan jumps in with a quick full power attack, whenever he doesn't expect it. Moro eventually does catch on, but it's too late. Especially because when Gohan attacks, he utilizes a switch in power. He's fighting mostly in Super Saiyan 2, but he swaps into Beast at random moments. Kinda like he was doing with Super Saiyan 3, but way stronger. Like, astronomically stronger. Obviously this isn't the strongest thing for him to do, but this way he can actually preserve energy. By only transforming at the very last fraction of a second, this prevents Moro from taking energy from his Beast form, and it still allows him to attack at full power. Moro's gonna have to drain Super Saiyan 2 Gohan if he wants to drain him. And thanks to this great synergy between Goku and Gohan, as well as the power behind their attacks, Moro is defeated pretty quickly. And it's not really too tough of a fight in general for them, especially because of how prepared they are. Goku asks Jocko and Mayris what he's supposed to do with Moro, and Jocko tells him to just kill Moro. They couldn't do it, they'd rather have that happen. But before they're able to, Vegeta then teleports in. He still did go to Yardrat like normal as well. He's kinda pissed off that he missed the fight, but at least he could do something to help here. Especially because the whole reason he was training there was to get Force Spirit Fission, and he doesn't even get to use it against Moro. At least not in a combat setting, because there is still one way for him to use it. He hits Moro and steals all of his energy back, returning it to their rightful owners. Now they can kill Moro, and he lands the killing blow. This is for all those Namekians he terrorized. Although he's not too surprised it went this way. He knew Kakarot was doing some of his own training, and more importantly, he knew Gohan was here on Earth. Once again, his student impressed him. The three Saiyans give each other a thumbs up. Another change from this arc is that Goku doesn't complete Ultra Instinct just yet. He probably will in training a little bit later on, but that puts him slightly behind. He already knows about the completed Ultra Instinct, he just can't access it willingly right now. And now we go into the Granola arc, which actually is going to change a lot. There's a couple reasons for that. So as we mentioned not too long ago, 7-3 was destroyed completely. This doesn't just affect the Moro arc, this will completely change this arc too. The whole reason Granola went to get 7-3 in the first place was because of the intel he had. And with no 7-3, that means no intel, which means the Heaters aren't going to get Zuno's location, nor will they get all the data on Moro's fight. Also meaning they won't know about Goku and Vegeta. However, one thing that does stay the same here is that Granola eventually finds out that Frieza's back, which angers him to no end and causes him to make the same wish that he did normally. Although there's something strange with the wish, and Taranbo gives him a condition. He can give Granola more power, but there's kind of an issue. Well, first of all, if he wants to be the strongest in the universe, Granola's life will have to be compressed a lot. And second of all, Taranbo doesn't think he has enough life to compress to do that. And this kind of discourages Granola because that means there's someone so strong out there that Granola won't be able to ever surpass him. Even with this wish. Compress his life, do whatever it takes, as long as he's strong enough to defeat Frieza. Also, this is kind of an issue for Taranbo too because Frieza's not in this realm at the moment, so he doesn't know what Frieza's power is. So instead Granola makes a much more specific wish. Compress his life as much as possible. Give him all the potential he'll have, minus 3 years of his life. Those 3 years should give him enough time to track down Frieza and possibly even grow stronger without the wish, but at the same time he still gets the power that he needs. For now, he just needs this as a jump start. So he doesn't know who the strongest in the universe is, but apparently according to Tronbo, it seems like it wasn't Frieza, so maybe this power will be enough to defeat him. But Granola is a bit worried because Tronbo doesn't know Frieza's power as of now. Without him being in the same realm, Tronbo couldn't accurately gauge Frieza's power and give that info to Granola, so Granola thinks he's up to something. He might be way stronger than they ever expected. So he's gonna go to the heaters for his location. Just like normal, the heaters don't budge. But Granola doesn't defeat them just yet. Although the heaters think they might be able to work with Granola because he actually has the power to kill Frieza now. But again, just like normal, they're worried that he'll just take Frieza's spot after killing him. Plus, they don't have any idea of how to stop Granola right now, especially because they don't know about the Saiyans. Him fighting Frieza at least could be good, but still, what are they supposed to do here? They try and go get the Dragon Balls for themselves, at a point where they think Granola's off the planet. This will be really tough because they have no idea on how to track the Dragon Balls. And what makes it even worse is Granola's actually on the planet when they go. He just kept his power low. He was worried they might try something suspicious. This whole time he's actually been making a plan. He hasn't been training, so that's why they couldn't sense his power. But he also knew this planet was at risk, so he just wanted to wait it out. Of course, the heaters get mad because they sent him on a mission and he just disobeyed them. But he doesn't need to obey them anymore. And especially if they don't have any info on Frieza, they're useless to him too. And now that he knows they're trying to use the Dragon Balls for themselves, that makes them a threat. Very easily, Granola's able to kill all of them. It's unfortunate they didn't have info on Frieza's location, but he does have another idea of how to get it. Plus now, he could train as much as he wants, and use the wish as a jump start basically. But what he needs now is info. He's gonna summon Tronbo again, but not to ask him for info. The heaters mentioned someone before named Zuno, and they never knew where to find him. Especially without having 7-3's help, they weren't able to find Zuno's location. But Granola has a much easier idea. Thankfully, the heaters were never able to get the Dragon Balls for themselves and find him. Although it is going to take a bit of time for Granola because first of all, the Dragon Balls need to recharge, and second of all, he needs to find them manually. He has no way to track them. But he has a few things working in his favor. For one, when the Dragon Balls separated after Tronbo disappeared last time, he remembered the general direction they went into, so he kinda knows an area where to search, and on top of that, he has Oatmeal with him, and plus his own amazing eyesight. So it's gonna take a lot of time, but after he completely dedicates himself to it and searches the general locations where the Dragon Balls might be, he actually is able to pick them out. Thankfully, it's only 2 of them too. He summons Tronbo again and asks for the location of Zuno. Eventually going to Zuno, and with no other option, he threatens Zuno for info. He learns a few things. 1. He asks Zuno how much stronger he could truly grow, and Zuno says no Cerealian has ever really grown too strong, especially because they're mostly pacifist. But he says Cerealians can grow more with combat, so Granola might be able to grow beyond his current strength. He asks if there's a way to reverse the wish he made, without removing the power, and Zuno says the best bet would be to get the Super Dragon Balls. Third question. He asks for Frieza's location, and he finds the planet where he's training. And one last question. He asks who the strongest mortals are in the universe. Excluding Frieza, there are 3 other really strong mortals, and they all happen to be on planet Earth. The strongest mortal at the moment is a hybrid Saiyan on Earth by the name of Son Gohan. Second to him is Frieza, currently in his strongest form, Black Frieza, which obviously is news to Granola. And Zuno says he's growing stronger by the day due to his training. There's also 2 other really strong mortals out there, both being Saiyans, and both pretty much on equal footing. 2 Saiyans living on Earth, Prince Vegeta IV, and Son Goku, also known as Kakarot. The 4th strongest person in the universe is actually also a Saiyan, a man named Broly living on a planetoid called Vampa at the moment. Although this is only because he can't control his power. His raw strength is incredible, make no mistake. And he even gives Granola info on the other fighters as well. This is huge news to him. There's Saiyans out there? And they're apparently the strongest mortals in the universe, besides Frieza at least, because they don't know Frieza's strength. So this leaves Granola in kind of a tough spot. Should he go fight Frieza right now? Because if he does, he might be able to win, but at the same time, he might lose because they don't know what Frieza's true power is like. What if Frieza's stronger than him at the moment? Frieza is training right now in another realm, and little does Granola know, he actually is stronger at the moment and is only getting stronger with each passing day, because he's on that planet where time flows differently. But Granola also doesn't know if he could attack the Saiyans either, because apparently that one hybrid Saiyan on Earth is stronger than him too. But now he actually knows how he can get stronger thanks to Zuno, and he fears the only way he could win here is if he gets the Super Dragon Balls for a wish, because he needs time to train. Tronbo's already drawn out all the power he can, and Granola is sure that if he asks for another wish to try and reverse that, well, he'll lose the power too, so there's no point. And it's not like another dragon would be powerful enough to do that either, besides Super Shenron. If he summons any sort of dragon, they'll just reverse the wish completely and he'll lose his power. He either has to live with that condition, or find the Super Dragon Balls to get rid of it. But he gets another idea. He learns that there's some places where time flows differently. This is Frieza's last and current location. But there are other planets like this. Granola now has an idea. What he needs right now is time, and he actually has the perfect idea of how to get that time. He's been asking Zuno the wrong questions. He clarifies what he meant, and he figures out something interesting. He doesn't need the Super Dragon Balls to get what he wants. He actually has a much better way now. looks like he's gonna have to make another wish. Goku and Vegeta train away on Beerus' planet, with Goku working on Ultra Instinct, and Vegeta now working with something brand new, Ultra Ego. Gohan's on Earth, still keeping up with his training, but more so, just enjoying the peace. Frieza's training away in that realm that he's at, working on his new black form, and now, Granola's planning to take all of them down. Before leaving Zuno, Granola asks 2 more things. So many questions, but he doesn't have a choice because Granola's threatening to kill him. First, he asks Zuno everything he knows about the Dragon Balls in order to make a location device for it. Not even the Super Dragon Balls, just the regular ones. And he asks for some locations of other planets where time flows differently, like the one that Frieza's at. Not the same exact one, but other ones like it. He wants to clarify all the info he heard before, and wants to use it for himself. Zuno does give him some locations. And thanks to Granola having Oatmeal with him, Oatmeal is able to record all of this information pretty easily, because it's a lot of info, so he might not remember it all. More importantly, Oatmeal is going to help create the Dragon Ball radar. Granola thanks Zuno, and finally leaves. So why do he ask for the regular Dragon Balls and not the Super Dragon Balls? Well, it's just going to make life a lot easier for him. He has a much better idea that doesn't require Super Dragon Balls, especially because Super Dragon Balls might catch the attention of the gods. With all the info from the Dragon Balls, he is able to craft his own radar. And there are a few locations in mind for where he should go, but it just so happens that Earth has its own set of Dragon Balls, the same place where those Saiyans are, and they're not there at the moment. Well, besides Gohan. Granola could have gone to Namek, but he'd have to fight the Namekians, which he doesn't really want to. Those Dragon Balls are guarded, and the Namekians are pacifists. On Earth, it just seems like they're randomly scattered about. There is a Namekian deity there, but he's not solely protecting the Dragon Balls. Plus, he has to go to Earth anyways because of the Saiyans. He could have even just stolen his own Dragon Ball radar at Capsule Corp or something, but he doesn't know about all that stuff. Although, strangely enough, he has to go there anyways because some of the Dragon Balls are already there. But he's able to summon Shenron and makes his wish. And there's a reason he went for a different dragon and not Taranbo. He was worried that doing this with Taranbo might counteract his wish. But this new dragon can give him what he wants. He wishes for immortality. At first he considers just wishing for his life to be extended, but this might be better. Immortality will be better for battle too. But this is also assuring that he will actually have an extended life, because he doesn't know if simply asking for eternal youth or something like that would work. Now he has the great power from Taranbo and the immortality from Shenron. No Super Dragon Balls needed, and now without having to worry about dying of old age, he quickly leaves Earth, going to one of those planets where time flows differently. Some months pass. Frieza finishes his training at some point and just goes back to being an emperor like normal. He's done enough training and he's content with where he is in power. As for Granola, he's training tirelessly. Back on Earth, Piccolo assumes that Frieza came to Earth somehow and used the Dragon Balls, which does really concern him. But it's strange that he's hiding. Although eventually he meets some guy named Gamma too, who tries to kill him. This jumpstarts the events of Superhero. And Piccolo's assumption goes from that to thinking that the Red Ribbon Army somehow got the Dragon Balls, which still is really concerning, but at least it's not Frieza. So, because of that threat, and the fact that Piccolo kinda wants to handle this himself, he uses Shenron to make his own wish, wishing for more power. Thankfully, Shenron's back by now, and he has 2 wishes still. The final wish could just go to Bulma or something. Honestly, Piccolo's not really too concerned about this because now he has his own power to handle everything here. Plus, Gohan is on Earth, and he's just not getting involved right away. Piccolo wants to see what he's capable of at least. With this increase in power, Piccolo is actually able to take on both the Gammas, defeating Gamma 1 and 2 together, and eventually learning about the misunderstanding. But with this battle going on, Gohan of course is able to sense Piccolo's power, amazed at how strong he's gotten, and he arrives on the scene, which is really good because Cell Max is activated not too long later. Although, Cell Max isn't really going to do anything, especially because Gohan's already there and way stronger than normal. So, the big points of Superhero still happen, except there's a couple changes. Pan's never kidnapped, Gamma 2 actually gets to survive here, and the whole thing goes a lot smoother because of how strong Gohan is and the fact that Piccolo's able to do a lot of the work himself too. Gohan does tell Piccolo he should have gotten him involved, but Piccolo wanted to pull his own weight for once. Plus, with this great power increase, it did seem pretty worthwhile. Although he does wonder what the Red Ribbon Army used the Dragon Balls for, and he asks Dr. Hedo after the fact. Hedo says they never got the Dragon Balls actually. Alright, Piccolo's back to being worried now. Unless Magenta did something unknown with the Dragon Balls, that means he doesn't know what happened with them or who used them. He probably should have asked Dende or even just asked Shenron. Dende did try to see what was happening with the wish, so he actually does have a little bit of info. He was watching from the lookout and he only saw it the very last second. Dende honestly didn't think anything of it. But whoever got the Dragon Balls played it off really smoothly. He actually did have to take some of them from Capsule Corp because some were there, but thankfully Granola's great as a thief. Bulma also had some footage to work off of, and has been trying to track down the thief, but it still led to nothing so far. He apologizes for not telling Piccolo sooner because he assumed he noticed, and Piccolo apologizes too, because whoever this is somehow knew about Shenron, and knew to conceal himself too. No, it's not like Piccolo was just being irresponsible here. He still did assume it was a threat, he just thought it was related to Frieza somehow. And it's not like Piccolo's been sitting around doing nothing either. He's been preparing. Gohan is known too, and he's also been preparing. They thought some threat was coming their way, but they should have just clarified. instead of just immediately assuming it was related to Frieza. It's not like they could have figured out what the wish was anyways, but he could have asked Shenron recently. But Gohan says he's not too concerned. And Piccolo shouldn't beat himself up about it either. It's not incompetence, they just didn't do their due diligence. And besides, whatever threat comes their way, they're prepared. Because regardless of who made the wish, they still prepared for someone to attack because they thought it was some sort of threat. And look how easily they handled the Red Ribbon Army, which was a completely unknown threat at the time. Well, they knew about the army, but they didn't know they were still around. They get their answer soon enough, though. A few weeks after this battle, Granola descends upon Earth. He knows that Gohan's the strongest person out there, at least from what he heard from Zuno before. Meaning he also might be the biggest threat. And now he's confident in his power. He could finish this. If he could defeat Gohan, he could surely defeat Frieza too. Besides, Gohan's a Saiyan and there are other Saiyans here as well. He knows Gohan's only half Saiyan. Whether or not he's like the other Saiyans, Granola's not really too sure. Granola assumes he is though. And besides, the other two Saiyans are some of his targets. Piccolo and Gohan are training together. A sniper shot comes out of nowhere, and they're able to dodge really quickly. Piccolo hates being sneak attacked. It's just like what Gamma 2 did a few weeks back. Another sniper shot comes their way, and they're easily able to pick out where it's coming from. Gohan powers up at the very last second. Both blasts were launched directly at him. Neither were directed at Piccolo. They launch over to the general direction where the blast came from, and they're eventually able to find Granola. Now, Granola hesitates to attack for a second. First of all, because the two found him immediately. Not that he wasn't prepared for that, but there's Piccolo there. He can clearly see this guy's a Namekian. Is this guy the Guardian of Earth and the creator of the Dragon Balls? Well, technically, yes, he was the former one, but Granola doesn't say any of this, and he doesn't know any of that. Plus, there's the fact that Namekian's here regardless. Shouldn't they be pacifist? Why is he about to fight? He noticed this before when he tried to snipe Gohan. Before they fight, Piccolo wants to clarify something. Is this guy working for Frieza? And what did he wish for? Now, it's a long shot to ask that second question, but that first one actually does get an answer from Granola. Why would he be working with Frieza? He wants to kill Frieza. To ask that question, these two must be working under Frieza. He immediately tries to fight again, and Piccolo tries to stop it because this seems like a misunderstanding. Gohan can recognize that too, and they try talking to Granola, but he doesn't believe them. Plus, on top of that, Gohan is his target, the strongest in the universe, and a Saiyan. At least the former strongest. With all the training Granola's got, he feels like he has more than enough power now. Now, it's not like he got all the years of training Frieza got, but still, he got a couple extra years in there. Although, Gohan and Piccolo were preparing in the meantime as well. And even with all the preparations Granola made, he couldn't account for the great potential Gohan has. Same for Piccolo too. Not to mention, he took shortcuts with his power. Now of course, Piccolo did make a wish himself too with the Dragon Balls. But Granola was basically cheating his way to the top and still hasn't used this in actual combat yet. He's trained, a lot actually. And he has grown significantly, but he hasn't had any real experience with this type of power in battle. Gohan even comments on this. He doesn't know who this guy is, but if he arrived here a few months ago, with this type of power he might have won. But Gohan's grown significantly in the past few months. Although he's still confused. This guy's going after them because he thinks they're working with Frieza. And Gohan notices something weird in the battle too. Whenever they injure Granola, he regenerates pretty much immediately. And it's not any normal regeneration. It's like attacks just don't affect him. It reminds him of Zamasu actually. And now he sees what this guy wished for. He wished for immortality, didn't he? But why? Well, that means the normal attacks clearly aren't going to work. So they try to restrain Granola. Gohan tackles him, and with all his might, he tries to hold Granola still. And Piccolo wants to get through to him again. Why are they fighting? This guy clearly is misunderstanding something. They don't work for Frieza. If he thinks they're threats, they're not. They're not going after Granola. They don't even know who he is. And this is kind of hard for Granola to believe. He's been blinded by this hatred for so long. Especially because he devoted himself so much over the past few months. He kind of reaffirmed this idea that he needed to kill Gohan, with him being the strongest mortal and also part Saiyan. Plus the other Saiyans on Earth, wherever they are. But Granola's still convinced this isn't going to be enough. And since Granola briefly mentioned it, Gohan does bring up something. He's not a Saiyan. He's an Earthling. Yes, technically by blood he is half Saiyan, but that's not his identity. Gohan's seen what the Saiyans are capable of. He almost died by the hands of a Saiyan before. Actually, twice. His own uncle, a pure Saiyan. He tried to kidnap him as a kid. And he avoids saying Vegeta's name not to throw him under the bus, but two other Saiyans also showed up to Earth and tried to kill him before too. He fought against them. He also fought Frieza on Namek. Not to mention, he killed Frieza before too. He actually came back to life a few years ago. Gohan killed him and then he came back again. And Gohan beat him up once more. He actually hates Frieza, and Frieza's trying to kill him. Now, of course, this is still hard for Granola to believe, but at least he's not attacking immediately. And this gives him some time to actually talk to him more. Thankfully, it's Gohan and Piccolo, who are very level-headed people and very pragmatic. It takes a lot of convincing, especially because Granola's convinced himself so much by now. But first of all, Gohan's clearly not a threat. Yes, he is half Saiyan, but that doesn't mean he's like the other Saiyans. Plus, he did hear Frieza being defeated on Namek a while back. Obviously, he didn't die until he came to Earth later on. And there is a Namekian here, after all, who was also there in the battle. And Gohan even mentioned that Frieza eventually came to Earth with King Cold, and his friend Trunks actually killed the two of them. Not to mention, Trunks is also a half Saiyan, although he's not here now. Slowly but surely, Granola actually does start to calm down. Although they're still on guard because this guy's immortal and he's really strong. They wonder how he got that powerful though. They've never heard of Cerealians before, and with his strength, that's kind of insane. Now, if it were Vegeta he met, this would be a completely different story. But Gohan actually is blameless here. Not that Vegeta's to blame here, just that Granola probably wouldn't be as open to listening to the Prince of Saiyans. Although it's really bad timing because a ship descends on Earth, and it has Frieza's key signature on it. Granola's immediately hostile again, thinking that they're trying to lure him into a trap, an ambush of sorts. But no, they actually didn't know that Frieza was here. And thankfully there is one thing working in their favor here. Granola does try to give them the benefit of the doubt for a bit. And when they say that they didn't know Frieza was going to show up, he tries to analyze their heartbeats and such. He can tell that they're not lying. They're actually genuine about this. It's just it's bad timing. And maybe Frieza's coming here because they're all together in one place. His presence is overwhelming. What the hell has he been doing for these past few years? It's not like Gohan and Piccolo haven't been training either. Especially Gohan, who's trained consistently in this What If. Thanks to Vegeta mostly. But still, they're unsure of what lies ahead. Frieza lands nearby and steps off his ship. He actually didn't know about Granola at all, but he's confused as to why a Cerealian is here. And he asks Piccolo and Gohan, were they just fighting this guy now? He actually felt their power on his way here. And he asks if Goku and Vegeta are here too. He'd like to make it a lot more efficient and kill everyone at once, but if they need to split it up, it's fine. Piccolo chuckles and tells him good luck. Even without Goku and Vegeta here, Frieza's still up against a big challenge. He's not winning. But Frieza assures them that he'll be fine, revealing to them that he's actually spent years training. His hatred drove him to do this. No matter how strong that hybrid Saiyan is, he will die here. He's actually stopped caring about Goku and Vegeta as much. Now, he does still want to kill them, but Gohan's the main target of his hatred. So as long as Gohan dies, he's happy. And Granola of course hears all this and realizes they were telling the truth the entire time, especially based on their reactions once Frieza transforms. They're taken aback by his power. Despite their own, they seem a little bit nervous here, because he shows them a completely new form, Black Frieza. Out of all my what-ifs, this is probably the ultimate Frieza. Given how long he's trained and the fact that he actually survived this long in the story, his power is pretty intense. And it makes Granola wonder, was his training truly enough? He couldn't even defeat Gohan. Sure, he grew a ton, but Gohan also grew a ton in the meantime. But if they both grew a lot in the meantime, how much did Frieza grow? Especially after 15 years of training, driven solely by hatred. An all-out battle begins. Frieza starts with a death beam, trying to get rid of the people he views as fodder. Piccolo and Granola. Piccolo powers up and is pretty much unfazed by this attack. And Granola takes the death beam head on, but instantly regenerates. And he did that purposefully to show Frieza what he's up against. Interesting. It seems those two are strong as well. And that's Cerealian. He doesn't know why he's here, but he assumes it has to do with him, doesn't it? Granola's really taken aback by all of this, especially because everything that he thought was true just turned upside down. Yes, the Saiyans are alive, but it seems like they're actually working against Frieza. And now he's fighting alongside one of them. Both with the same goal to kill Frieza. Frieza does mention that he could just blow up the Earth right now, but there's no fun in that. He wants to make them know his power before they die. He wants to let them know that they would have lost regardless. He's gonna love killing Gohan. And yes, he couldn't fight Gohan in that form before, but now, that form Gohan used, that's gonna be nothing to Frieza. Now, unfortunately, thanks to Granola, Gohan and Piccolo are a bit worn out because they were injured by him, and they did have to spend time fighting him, so they're not really at 100% right now. But still, Frieza's outnumbered, and all these people are really powerful. But he's still holding his own incredibly well. They're surprised at how strong he's gotten, but it makes sense after 15 years of straight training. But then they sense the presence of 3 other people appear. Goku teleports in, with Vegeta and with Broly. Broly's actually not going to get involved in this fight, but Goku tells him to watch closely. Now, Granola is really distracted by this, seeing 2 Saiyans appear here, especially with one of them being the Prince of Saiyans. So for a brief moment, his mind wanders, and Frieza takes this chance to attack him. Then seeing that it does nothing, because he still doesn't realize that Granola's regeneration is because he's immortal. Goku then yells out to Gohan, asking if he can handle this, and Gohan says Goku and Vegeta can jump in. He would love to kill Frieza right away, but it's going to be a little bit tough now. Still, he's not letting Frieza get away again. This time they're going to kill him, and it's going to be done permanently. Goku activates Ultra Instinct, jumping into the fight alongside the other 3, as Vegeta goes into Ultra Ego, also fighting at the same time. Now it's a 5v1, although Goku and Vegeta are actually the weakest here, but they're not weak by any means, just the weakest out of this specific group. Although they're not really going to be doing much against Black Frieza, especially with how much he's trained here. Really, the only ones who have been able to do anything to him so far are Granola and Gohan. But there is one specific thing working in their favor here, and it's Vegeta. Now, Vegeta would love to just defeat Frieza with his own strength, but he does have another technique he hasn't used in a bit, Force Spirit Fission. He's able to hit Frieza with a few attacks, and not really do a lot of damage, but just enough to take a little bit of energy from him, giving it to Gohan. And he continues doing this, significantly weakening Frieza in the process. Even though Vegeta isn't physically the strongest here, he's one of the most fearsome opponents here. Force Spirit Fission in combination with Ultra Ego, they don't realize it, but it makes him terrifying. He actually thanks Moro for this. If it wasn't for him, he wouldn't have unlocked this technique, or thought to even use it this way. If this were any other enemy, he wouldn't have used this because it feels like cheating. But he wants to make sure Frieza's dead, and by doing it this way, it can assure that Vegeta's the one to kill him and erase him completely. He continues attacking and lending more energy to the people around them, powering them up as Frieza starts to power down. Frieza feels a sharp pain in his stomach, a combined Makanko Sapo from Gohan and Piccolo. He was too focused on Goku and Vegeta for a second, and it let them get just enough time to charge this. He feels attacks in multiple vital points from Granola. He's taking attacks from the two other strongest people who are now fully at 100% power. Now, these two alone at this point, they'd probably be enough to defeat Frieza right now. Especially because the combined beam from Gohan and Piccolo, it actually punctures right through Frieza. But Vegeta's actually the one to get the final hit on him, making sure he does this with a Hakai. And he takes great pride in this, telling Frieza to leave his planet and his student alone, launching a full-powered Hakai and Ultra Ego, erasing the weakened and injured Black Frieza. Now he's not ever going to come back. Broly watches on with tears in his eyes. That was amazing. And now he doesn't have to worry about Frieza anymore, with Goku looking back at Broly and giving him a thumbs up, hoping he enjoyed that battle. Now, once again, Granola's a bit distracted and doesn't really know what to do here because all the other Saiyans that he heard about are here, including Broly, that random one that he heard about. But thanks to talking with Gohan, he learned that Goku has nothing to do with the other Saiyans. He was sent here as a baby. Now, Vegeta and Broly he knows nothing about, besides the fact that Vegeta's Prince and he probably deserves some of the blame. But at the same time, he was just healed by Vegeta actually. And he watched Vegeta erase Frieza. He really doesn't know what to think right now. But Vegeta knows what to think. He's happy. He's happy that Frieza's finally gone, and he's glad that everyone did a good job against him, especially Gohan once more. Although he does joke with Gohan a bit. He might need to train a bit more because he needed help with that. He knows Gohan's been training a lot. But still, this shows him that there's stronger people out there. People with even greater potential than Gohan maybe. Which is really concerning because of how strong Gohan is here. It's just that Frieza's also absurdly strong. Whatever the case may be, Vegeta says he's going to train Gohan again. But Goku butts in. He should be the one to train Gohan this time. Vegeta then says he's the better teacher, and the two start bickering over it. And Granola just watches on confused. That's the Prince of Saiyans? And these are the other surviving Saiyans? They seem harmless. Well, in the sense that they're not malicious. And now he sees what Gohan's been talking about. Gohan might have been molded into a great warrior by Vegeta, but he's still a good guy. And on top of that, Vegeta's been turned into a really good guy too. Granola seems to have misjudged them a lot. Weird. He would have never expected that. And this is where we end off our story. What do you guys think about this story as a whole? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I'd love to see what you think. As usual, be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Anyways, thank you all for watching, thanks for supporting this scenario all the way through, and I'll see you all in my next video.